Does eating your customers work? And the 60% problem. Anthropic's marketing team is either one person or hundreds, depending on whether software engineers posting on Twitter counts as marketing. Either way, it's a lot cheaper than tube ads. The interesting thing right now is Anthropic's move to compete with its largest customers. Anthropic's ARR is apparently 30 billion plus, but what percentage of this revenue comes from first-party tools like Claude Code and Cowork versus the third-party API relationships with Cursor, Lovable, Replit, Harvey, Legora and Sierra? Whilst happy coexistence might be possible, I imagine Cursor, Lovable and Replit are all at the very least trying to minimize the data passed back to Anthropic to build rival products. At the other extreme, perhaps they are using open source models to escape the API toll entirely. But it all got me thinking, which other companies eat their own customers? Samsung notoriously supplies Apple with OLED screens while simultaneously competing in smartphones. Amazon reportedly launches first-party own brand products which compete directly with marketplace sellers. And Apple Music spent years competing with Spotify and other apps inside the App Store itself. Apple and Amazon own the platform, meaning they can launch first-party products in the same ecosystem. In Anthropic's case, the dynamic feels different. The companies are competing for the same distribution and the same customers, except the application layer also has to pay Anthropic additional margin for the right to use its products. Ironically, these tweets perfectly outline why nobody really knows the answer yet, as Anthropic seemingly pursues both strategies simultaneously. But if they don't win the verticals, they'll likely get ripped out by their existing API customers one day. I remember at Morgan Stanley, the longest-running Tesla bull Adam Jonas relishing the chance to escape the perils of being an autos analyst and instead cosplay as a tech analyst via Tesla. In fairness, the share price suggests he was right, unless the market can stay irrational for multiple decades. Either way, the original argument for autonomous vehicles was always that cars sit idle 96% of the time. Enter the Tesla robotaxi. Now, with the rise of the GPU, XAI recently came under fire for reportedly hitting just 11% utilization across its GPU fleet. Apparently 40% utilization is considered best in class, which feels slightly insane. In a knife fight for compute capacity costing trillions of dollars, the prized asset then sits idle 60 to 89% of the time. Launching a neocloud or buying Cursor are both logical attempts to improve utilization. Nobody has yet solved the remaining 60%. This week's funding saw strong rounds across the UK tech ecosystem. In AI and deep tech, Ethos raised £16.7 million to match skilled professionals to income opportunities. CodeWords raised $9 million in seed to turn words into AI agents and automations. In health and biotech, Cytospire Therapeutics raised £61 million to develop antibodies for cancer treatment. Asterix Health raised £2.1 million for remote GP services to NHS practices. And Nuna Bio raised £6.5 million for synthetic DNA manufacturing. In fintech, OpenTrade raised £12.5 million to build stablecoin yield infrastructure. Before we go, 3 events worth your time this week. The Nova Book X, Onstage S26 pre-pitch party on the 13th in London. Onstage's S26 demo day applications are open, so join us for an exclusive pre-game event with applicants, investors and the Onstage team. On the 20th online, a practical webinar on what happens when things go wrong. Legal specialists will unpack how businesses should respond when facing high-stakes challenges. And on the 26th in Oxford, during Oxford Tech Week, a health and biotech pitch session with Oxford Seed Fund and Oxford Capital. Submit your deck for a chance to pitch live to leading investors. Links in the newsletter. We'll see you next week.